Hi there, I'm Lee with remodelingcalculator.org, and today I want to talk about insulation of a roof on a post and beam construction home. So I've got this house. It's a post and beam construction. It's a beautiful house. I love it, but the problem here is it's very poorly insulated. So all I got for insulation in the roof are these 5 by 2 inch boards. They're roofing boards, so I have roofing shingles on the other side of this board. Basically, there's zero insulation in this home. During the winter, it gets very cold, and we'll have to spend a lot of money to heat this house. I looked at the previous owner's heating bill or gas bill, and it seems like during the coldest months of the year, she was paying about $500 to heat up this house. And the problem is poor insulation. There's poor insulation in the walls. There's a lot of single pane windows, and the roof is completely uninsulated. So I want to insulate this house, but the problem is, how do you do it? So the first approach that I wanted to implement was to install insulation when I replace the roof, and I'll talk about that in a second. But as you can see here, I wanted to install a layer of plaster over this board so I don't see the black and I don't see these huge gaps between the boards. Right here and also right here, you can see I can stick my finger on it. So I wanted to remove the shingles and install rigid roofing insulation on the opposite side of this board, on the outside. Then on top of that, I would install a layer of plywood and install my metal roofing panels over that. But the problem with that approach is when you do a roof, once you remove the shingles, your roof is exposed. So if it rains, the chances are that the roof will leak unless you close it for the night. And to close it, we usually use roofing underlayment. It's a synthetic product, it's excellent. But since we would also do insulation, this would tremendously slow the process down, and chances of a roof leak would increase significantly. So I gave it a second thought, and I decided not to do it that way because I don't want to risk roof leaks while the house is finished. So what I can do is I can install insulation from the inside. But the point of post and beam construction houses is that you have your beams exposed and you have your roofing boards exposed. And hiding this will kind of ruin the experience. So there are several ways to tackle that. Number one, you can, since I have 12 inches of beam, I can actually add insulation between the beams and still have part of the beam exposed. And for some people, it might be an issue because they want to see the whole beam, they want to see the boards. For me, it's not. For me, insulation is more important than the looks of a beam. Although I do like it, how deep it is doesn't matter to me because all this space is pretty much wasted. I never go here, so I can actually build it out. So to build it out, most people would do, they would install rafters, 16 inches on center. You would probably use a 6 by 2 board. This is a 2 by 4. So 2 by 6 would give you more insulation depth. But I don't like that approach because although these are 2-inch boards, attaching these rafters would create a problem and it would make the process slow and costly. So if you do it this way, you would basically install your 2 by 6s or 2 by 8s, 16 inches on center, and then you would install wall insulation, either fiberglass or a spray foam. Now, because this is a finished house, or more or less finished, doing a spray foam is not a good idea because then you'll have little particles of spray foam everywhere, and it's just messy. Spray foam is really a product for new construction. So you're left with fiberglass. Now, fiberglass usually comes in a 14R variation for a 2 by 4 wall. I haven't seen a 28R for a 2 by 8 because nobody does that. There are certainly insulations for a 6-inch depth, but once again, it's costly, it's time consuming, and it doesn't give me enough R value. So I want to have at least 30 R value in this house. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to abandon this building out rafters thing. I think it's junk. What I will do, actually, I purchased, once again, roofing insulation. You can see here. So these are 2-inch boards right there. This gives me 12R or 6R per inch. So I have a bunch of this. Here I have more on the delivery for the next week. But let me take you out to the porch. Just give me a second. So here I have more insulation out on the porch. And as you can see, these are 3-inch boards now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sandwich a 2-inch and a 3-inch board to get me 5 inches depth on the insulation, and this will give me 30 R value. And then I am going to attach it to the roof or to the wall, whatever you call it, roof boards, with this gigantic 7-inch screws. So I have a bunch of this. I bought 1,000 pieces, and I'm going to place these furnish strips on top. So how do you cover the insulation board once you install it? And I think this is a very clever idea. Because this is a very rigid board, you can actually install these furnish strips 16 inches on center, and this will be just like your rafter, wall rafter, because you can now attach your drywall to it, or if you want to preserve the look of wood boards, you can do a tongue and groove boards across, and you have a great looking surface, and you also have the insulation. So once again, I would screw it in just like so, about every 8 inches, just so this is completely attached and everything is firm and secure. As you can see, my screws penetrate the insulation just enough to give me about 1.5 inches to go into the roofing board, so this will never fall off, which is great. Alright, with that aside, let me talk about costs, because remodeling calculator is all about prices of remodeling projects. So I went around to multiple roofing suppliers yesterday, and I found the prices on the insulations vary by as much as 40%. So the cheapest place that I found was Beacon Roofing Supply in Manchester, New Hampshire. Their price was $20.48 for a 2-inch board and $30.72 for a 3-inch board. So basically, for each inch of insulation depth, you're paying $10.24. And I went to the local Beacon Supply, and they were a couple of bucks more expensive, but actually they matched my price that I found in their store in New Hampshire, actually their branch. So other places, especially places like Harvey Industries, their prices were significantly higher. They were about $26 for a 2-inch board and $38 for a 3-inch board, which is, I think, ridiculous, but as you can see, that's about 30% more money. And I actually found a supplier who wanted $28 for a 2-inch board, and that means a 40% more than what I paid. Alright, so what does this price really mean? So I have about 1,100 square feet of area to cover, and I will need 35 boards of each thickness. So I'll need 70 boards total, 35 of 3-inch and 35 of 2-inch. And my total cost for this will be actually $1,900 with tax for the insulation alone, and then screws were additional $230 with tax. So basically I'm paying about $150, $160 with tax per 100 square feet of insulation. And I think that's a pretty good price. Now, if I went to hire an insulation contractor, I would pay about 3 times that, and most of it would go into profit. Spray foam, like I said, it wouldn't be a good choice here to do spray foam, but the cost of that would be even more expensive, because a closed cell insulation is basically the same as that rigid board. It gives you the same R value, 6 per inch, and closed cell spray foam insulation is the most expensive. Now, Fiberglass insulation is not as effective because it doesn't give you same R value per inch of depth. Therefore, to get a 30 R value, you would need about 8 inches of depth, even more than that, maybe even 9. Because, like I said, a 14 R fiberglass insulation requires a 4-inch wall. Therefore, 8-inch wall gives you 28 R value. Basically, I will do a total video on roofing insulation prices, complete guide, and then in the next video I will show you the actual installation of this insulation, how I install it. It will be a very interesting experience. I think a lot of people with post and beam homes are dealing with problems of lack of insulation, and this is how I decided to solve my issue or my problem with it. Alright guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button below. Please subscribe to my channel if you liked it and to see more great videos about remodeling. And if you want to estimate costs of insulation or other remodeling projects, go to our website roofingcalculator.org. A link in the description below. Thank you for watching.